The law of attraction has become one of the most misunderstood concepts in modern spirituality. What began as a profound principle was gradually simplified and commercialized until it turned into a superficial "think positive and you will get what you want" formula. This oversimplification has created a generation of frustrated people who cannot understand why their positive visualizations and affirmations are not materializing in their lives. Contrary to what many manifestation coaches teach, the true law of attraction does not work like a cosmic shopping catalog. The ancient masters who studied these principles understood that manifestation is not about asking the universe for what you want, but about transforming who you are. When you change your internal state, your deep beliefs, your emotional patterns, and your energetic vibration, your external reality naturally changes to reflect this new internal condition. Many people repeat statements like "I'm rich" or "I'm successful," while their entire being, their emotions, their physical posture, and their subconscious thoughts scream the opposite. This incongruity creates internal resistance that prevents any real manifestation. The secret that few understand is that the law of attraction responds not to what you say you want, but to who you really are at your energetic core. The ancient spiritual traditions of India, Egypt, and China recognized that manifestation happens through the union of three elements: focused thought, heightened emotion, and aligned action. Without this complete triad, we are just performing mental exercises without transformative power. Modern manifestation practice often ignores two-thirds of this equation, focusing only on thinking and ignoring the crucial importance of emotions and corresponding actions. Vedic texts already taught that reality is first created internally before manifesting externally. The term sankalpa, an intention formed by the heart and mind, recognizes that true manifestation requires that your intention comes not just from your thoughts but also from your deepest emotional center. When you truly align these aspects of yourself, you are not merely longing for a new reality. You are vibrating as if you are already living in it. The most overlooked aspect of manifestation is the inner work required to remove the barriers that prevent your desires from manifesting. These barriers are often emotional trauma, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns that operate below the conscious level. Before any manifestation technique can work effectively, it is necessary to identify and transform those internal blocks that contradict your conscious intentions. True manifestation begins with honest, deep self-knowledge. We need to recognize that our current realities are not random accidents, but accurate reflections of our dominant internal energies up until this moment. To change our external reality, we must first have the courage to look within and transform the parts of ourselves that are not aligned with what we wish to manifest. This is the truth about the law of attraction that few are willing to face. It demands real transformation, not just superficial positive thinking. We live in an era where everything happens at the touch of a button. Food delivered in minutes, instant information, and on-demand entertainment have created an expectation of immediate results in all areas of our lives. This culture of instant gratification has deeply infiltrated our relationship with personal and spiritual development, creating a superficial approach to manifestation that ignores the deeper layers necessary for true transformation. When people approach the law of attraction and manifestation techniques, they often bring the same quick results mentality that they apply to the rest of their lives, lured by promises of "manifest your desire in 24 hours" or "attract abundance" in a week. Many practitioners engage only superficially with the principles. They spend a few minutes visualizing their desires, create a vision board, or repeat a few affirmations, and then expect dramatic results to appear almost magically. What this approach ignores is that each person carries years, sometimes decades, of negative mental programming, unresolved emotional trauma, and limiting thought patterns that are deeply rooted in the subconscious. These layers of conditioning create a powerful internal resistance that silently sabotages any attempt at conscious manifestation. Thinking positively for a few minutes a day simply doesn't have enough power to overcome decades of deeply ingrained negative programming. Imagine trying to change the course of a river that has been flowing in the same direction for decades. Placing a few small rocks in the path will not significantly change your flow. To truly redirect the river, you need to do bigger and deeper work, changing the structure of the land itself. Likewise, to manifest real change in your life, you need to work on the fundamental structures of your beliefs and emotional patterns, not just superficial thoughts. Instant gratification culture has also created an autopilot mentality, where people wait for manifestation to happen without their active involvement. They visualize their desires and then sit passively, waiting for the universe to deliver their dreams like an online purchase order. This approach completely ignores the principle of co-creation, the idea that we manifest more effectively when we work in partnership with the universe, not just making requests of it. Ancient spiritual traditions have always emphasized that manifestation is a process that requires patience, persistence, and discipline. Zen masters talk about the practice of sitting with uncertainty, the ability to remain steadfast in your intention even when results are not immediately visible. Yoga practitioners talk about tapas, the transformative heat of the discipline that gradually burns away inner impurities and obstacles. These traditions recognize that true transformation rarely happens overnight. It is a gradual process of alignment and internal purification. To overcome the instant gratification trap, we need to adopt a more mature and patient view of manifestation. This means committing to consistent daily practices that gradually reprogram your subconscious, facing and processing difficult emotions that block your desires, and aligning your actions with your intentions. It means recognizing that manifestation is not about getting something external, but about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the experiences you desire. When you commit to this deeper process of transformation, the results may not be instantaneous, but they will be much more powerful and lasting. In our hyper-connected world, we experience a paradoxical disconnection from our deepest intuitive wisdom. The technology that promised to connect us more deeply has led us away from our internal compass. That silent voice that whispers truths that no algorithm can calculate. We are constantly bombarded with external information, opinions, and validation, creating a dependence on sources outside of ourselves for guidance and decision-making. This disconnection with our intuition has profound consequences on our ability to manifest. When we constantly rely on experts, influencers, and AI systems to tell us what we want and how to get it, we lose touch with our true desires and purpose. Authentic manifestation arises from genuine desires that resonate with our deepest being, not from desires implanted by external influences or social pressures. How can we manifest our true purpose when we don't even know what we really want? Ancient spiritual traditions have always emphasized the importance of introspection and silence. Lao Tzu warned, "When you realize that you lack nothing, the whole world belongs to you." This profound teaching suggests that true abundance and fulfillment come from recognizing the completeness that already exists within us. But how can we hear this wisdom when we are constantly distracted by notifications, social media updates, and an endless stream of external content? Our fragmented attention has become one of the biggest obstacles to conscious manifestation. Intuition operates at a deeper level than rational thought. It integrates information from our body, emotions, and subconscious experiences to offer us insights that transcend linear logic. Studies in neuroscience show that we literally have a brain in our digestive system, the enteric nervous system, that processes information and sends signals to the brain through the vagus nerve. When we talk about gut feelings or gut-based decisions, we are acknowledging this deep bodily intelligence that often knows what is right for us before our conscious mind does. Modern society values data, analysis, and logical thinking above all other forms of knowledge. Although these resources are valuable, they represent only a fraction of complete human intelligence. When we become overly dependent on them, we lose access to the intuitive wisdom that connects us to larger patterns and emerging possibilities. The most powerful manifestation occurs when we integrate logical thinking with intuition, when we can analyze information and also sense the correct path to follow. To regain our connection with intuition, we need to create space for silence and introspection in our lives. Practices such as meditation, walks in nature, journaling, and mindfulness help us filter external noise and tune in to our internal wisdom. When we regularly disconnect from technology and reconnect with our bodies and feelings, we begin to recognize the difference between our authentic desires and those implanted by outside influences. This internal clarity is essential for effective manifestation. Reconnecting with our intuition also requires courage, the courage to trust our own discernment, even when it contradicts external consensus. We often intuitively know what we need to do, but we hesitate because we are afraid of judgment or rejection. Regaining our trust in inner wisdom means being willing to follow our own path, even when it diverges from social expectations. When we align our actions with our deepest intuition, we unlock a power of manifestation that no external technique or formula can offer. Ancient civilizations had a much more sophisticated understanding of manifestation than many simplified modern approaches. Contrary to contemporary interpretations that reduce manifestation to mere passive requests to the universe, cultures such as the Egyptian, Indian, and Chinese developed complex and multidimensional systems that integrated body, mind, and spirit in the process of co-creation. These traditions never separated thought from action or inner transformation. In ancient Egypt, the concept of Heka, or magic, was actually a sophisticated system of energetic alignment. The Egyptians understood that words, gestures, sounds, and emotional states created specific vibrational patterns that could influence reality. Egyptian manifestation rituals were never purely mental. They incorporated physical movement, specific vocal intonations, and heightened emotional states. Practitioners did not simply ask for what they wanted, they became energetically aligned with the desired outcome, incorporating their future reality into their present. In the Vedic tradition of India, the concept of sankalpa, it, represents a profound form of intention that goes far beyond simple desire. One sankalpa. It is not a casual thought or an ephemeral desire. It is a deep commitment planted in the heart and nurtured through consistent daily practice. Ancient yogic texts teach that a sankalpa true must be accompanied by discipline, self-study, and surrender to the divine. This multifaceted approach recognizes that manifestation requires commitment and alignment on multiple levels of being. Chinese Taoist traditions emphasize the concept of wu-wei, or effortless action. This concept is often misinterpreted as passivity, but it actually represents a state of aligned flow where our actions arise naturally from harmony with the Tao. Taoist masters taught that the most powerful manifestation occurs not through willpower or control, but through alignment with the natural patterns of the universe. They developed practices such as Qigong and Tai Chi to cultivate vital energy and create internal states that naturally attracted favorable circumstances. A common element in all of these ancient traditions is the emphasis on purification and internal transformation as a prerequisite for effective manifestation. Buddhist monks practiced meditation not to obtain material benefits, but to cleanse mental impurities that distorted their perception of reality. Indigenous shamans performed cleansing rituals to remove blocked energies before performing manifestation work. These traditions recognize that our external limitations are often reflections of our internal blocks, and that true transformation begins from the inside out. Ancient practices also recognize the importance of rhythm and timing in manifestation. Vedic sages were meticulous in their observations of astronomical cycles, choosing auspicious times for different types of manifestation activities. Indigenous peoples synchronized their practices with lunar and seasonal cycles, recognizing that there are times of planting, growing, harvesting, and resting. This cyclical understanding contrasts sharply with the linear, always-now approach of modern culture that ignores the natural rhythms necessary for sustainable manifestation. Perhaps the most profound difference between ancient and modern approaches is understanding the purpose of manifestation. The esoteric teachings of many traditions viewed the ability to manifest not as an end in itself, but as an ability for spiritual development and service to others. The Egyptian mysteries taught that the true purpose of magic was to facilitate the evolution of the soul. Yogic traditions viewed manifestation powers as side effects of spiritual development, not primary goals. This broader perspective avoided the trap of spiritual materialism that often plagues modern approaches. Ancient wisdom about manifestation was rooted in a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. While many modern approaches focus on satisfying isolated individual desires, ancient traditions recognized that true manifestation must consider the collective good. Hawaiian teachings emphasized righteousness or alignment with the highest good. Indigenous shamans consulted the impact of their manifestations on 7 generations to come. This broader consciousness produced manifestations that were in harmony with the greater good, not just short-term personal gratification. Modern neuroscience is beginning to validate what spiritual practitioners have known for millennia. Thought alone is not enough to create meaningful change in our lives. Recent studies of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to remodel itself, show that superficial affirmations and visualizations have minimal impact on brain structure when performed without deep emotional involvement. To create new neural networks that support your manifestation goals, your brain needs to not only think of new possibilities, but feel and experience those possibilities viscerally. When we repeat positive affirmations without emotionally believing them, we create an internal neurological conflict. The thinking brain can understand and repeat positive words, but the emotional brain and the reptilian brain stem continue to operate based on previous beliefs. This internal misalignment creates neurological and psychological resistance that prevents effective manifestation. The brain, detecting incongruence between thoughts and emotions, treats the statements as false and strengthens existing neural patterns instead of creating new ones. Neuroscience has discovered that our brains have a negativity bias, an evolutionary tendency to give more weight to negative experiences than positive ones. This mechanism, developed to keep our ancestors safe from threats, means that negative experiences are processed more quickly and stored more deeply in our memory than positive experiences. To overcome this built-in bias, we need to consciously cultivate and amplify positive emotional states for prolonged periods, allowing new neural networks to form and stabilize. This process doesn't happen instantly. It requires consistent practice and repetition. Functional MRI studies reveal that our brains do not clearly distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. When we visualize something with rich sensory detail and genuine emotion, we activate many of the same neural networks that would be activated during the actual experience. Neuroscientists call this embodied mental simulation. This discovery explains why ancient manifestation traditions emphasized the importance of feeling as if your desire is already fulfilled. You are literally training your brain to recognize and move toward realities that have not yet physically manifested. Research into epigenetics, the study of how environmental factors influence gene expression, also provides insights into manifestation. We discovered that our thoughts, emotions, and experiences can turn different genes on or off, altering our biochemistry and physiology. Prolonged states of stress and fear activate genes associated with inflammation and disease, while states of gratitude, connection, and love activate genes associated with regeneration and healing. This means that our internal state not only influences our perception of reality, but literally alters our biology, creating a physical basis for different life experiences. One of the most relevant findings for manifestation comes from research into flow states, moments of intense focus and presence where time seems to slow down and complex actions become effortless. During flow states, the brain releases a cocktail of neurochemicals, including dopamine, serotonin, anandamide, and endorphins, that not only increase performance and creativity, but also create an altered state of consciousness where new possibilities seem more accessible. Researchers have found that people in a state of flow report greater feelings of synchrony and meaningful coincidences, something manifestation practitioners have long recognized as signs of alignment with their desires. Our neural understanding of memory also illuminates why many manifestation efforts fail. The brain does not store memories as static files, but reconstructs them each time we access them, incorporating new information in the process. This phenomenon, known as memory reconsolidation, means that every memory carries the potential for transformation. When we consciously maintain our focus on past limitations, we are inadvertently strengthening these neural circuits. Conversely, when we practice deliberately recalling past successes and amplifying positive emotions associated with them, we are literally rewriting our neural conditioning to support new possibilities for manifestation. The superficial positive thinking that dominates modern self-help culture is like building a beautiful house on a shaky foundation. It may look impressive from the outside, but it will eventually fall apart. This is the uncomfortable reality that few manifestation gurus are willing to admit. Without facing and integrating your shadows, your fears, traumas, and limiting beliefs, you are simply applying a coat of shiny paint over deep structural cracks. True manifestation begins when you have the courage to look at what you are avoiding. Since time immemorial, mystical traditions from around the world have emphasized that the universe responds not just to our conscious thoughts, but to the entirety of our energetic being. Medieval alchemists understood this through the principle of solve et coagula. First dissolve, face and transform your shadows before solidifying and manifesting new realities. Tibetan Buddhists practiced chöd, ritually facing your greatest fears to release your power over them. These traditions recognize that unfaced fear becomes an energetic blockage that prevents any authentic manifestation. The psychological phenomenon of the shadow, as Carl Jung called it, represents aspects of ourselves that we repress or deny. When we work with manifestation without first addressing our shadow stuff, we create a counterproductive dynamic where our conscious mind affirms a desire while our subconscious actively sabotages that same desire. For example, you may consciously affirm "I deserve abundance," but if you carry subconscious beliefs such as money corrupts or rich people are greedy, your energetic system remains divided against itself, neutralizing your power of manifestation. Our deepest fears often originate from childhood experiences, where we learned distorted lessons about ourselves and the world. A young child who has been neglected may develop the fundamental belief, "I am not worthy of attention," that, in adulthood, unconsciously sabotages relationships and opportunities. These childish votes operate below the radar of consciousness, influencing our choices and behaviors even when we consciously think the opposite. Until these core beliefs are brought to light and transformed, they will continue to control your manifested reality. The resistance to facing our dark aspects is understandable. It is emotionally challenging work. The modern culture of toxic positivity exacerbates this resistance, elevating good mood and positive vibes above emotional integrity. However, this superficial approach only perpetuates a spiral of denial and self-deception. Ironically, it is only when we have the courage to fully feel our difficult emotions, anger, sadness, fear, shame, that they can finally be released, creating space for genuinely positive emotions to emerge naturally. The shadow integration process is not about obsessively focusing on negativity, but rather about bringing loving awareness to neglected parts of yourself. When you recognize and accept aspects that you previously denied, you discover that they carry not only pain, but also valuable gifts and resources. For example, the anger you have been avoiding may contain powerful energy for establishing healthy boundaries. Fear can hide intuitive wisdom. Integrating your shadow does not diminish your power of manifestation. On the contrary, it releases vital energy that was trapped in patterns of repression and resistance. Several modern therapeutic modalities offer effective ways to work with dark material. Therapies such as desensitization and eye movement reprocessing help reprocess traumatic memories stored in the body. Somatic practices, such as somatic experiencing and myofascial release, allow you to access and release trauma stored in the body's tissues. Internal family systems therapy offers a compassionate method for working with subpersonality parts that carry limiting beliefs. These approaches provide practical alternatives to simply repeating positive mantras. True spiritual courage lies not in avoiding your darkness through forced high vibration, but in your willingness to face all parts of yourself with compassion and curiosity. When you integrate your shadows, you not only remove blocks to effective manifestation, but you also achieve a state of inner wholeness where your desires arise from a place that is more authentic and aligned with your highest good. Paradoxically, it is only when we stop running away from our dark stuff that we discover the true power of co-creation that has always been within us. We are living in a fascinating era where cutting-edge scientific discoveries are beginning to converge with what ancient spiritual traditions have taught for millennia. What was once dismissed as mysticism or superstition is now being validated by rigorous scientific methods. This convergence not only legitimizes ancient wisdom, but also offers a deeper and more nuanced understanding of how manifestation processes work. Quantum physics has revolutionized our understanding of reality in ways that resonate deeply with ancient spiritual teachings. The principle of quantum superposition, that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, echoes what spiritual masters have long taught about the power of consciousness to influence reality. The famous double slit experiment demonstrated that subatomic particles behave differently when observed, suggesting a relationship between consciousness and matter that ancient Egyptian and Vedic texts already described in their own language. Ancient texts like Kybalion, they stated that everything is mind, and that matter is essentially condensed energy. This concept, previously considered purely metaphysical, gained scientific credibility with Einstein's famous equation, which establishes the equivalence between matter and energy. Later, string theory proposed that all fundamental particles are actually tiny vibrating strings, resonating at different frequencies, an idea remarkably similar to the concepts of vibrations and frequencies that ancient cultures used to describe different states of consciousness and manifestation. Modern neuroscience is validating the contemplative practices that formed the basis of many spiritual traditions. Studies of experienced Buddhist monks have demonstrated significant changes in brain structure and functioning as a result of long-term meditation. Research using electroencephalography and functional magnetic resonance imaging has shown that meditative practices increase activity in areas of the brain associated with focus, compassion, and well-being, while decreasing activity in regions linked to fear, anxiety, and negative rumination. These findings confirm what contemplative traditions have taught, that we can literally train our brains into states that facilitate manifestation. Medicine has begun to recognize the profound impact of mental and emotional states on physical health, something that traditional medical systems like traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda have understood for millennia. The field of psychoneuroimmunology has revealed how thoughts and emotions directly influence our immune system through complex biochemical pathways. Studies have shown that practices such as meditation, guided visualization, and mindful breathing, all essential components of ancient manifestation traditions, can reduce inflammation, improve immune function, and even influence gene expression through epigenetic mechanisms. While Western science has traditionally focused on the material mechanics of the universe, ancient traditions emphasized the interconnectedness of all things, a concept now emerging in complex systems theory and deep ecology. The Gaia hypothesis, proposed by scientist James Lovelock, suggests that the Earth functions as a unique self-regulating system, similar to a living organism, an idea remarkably aligned with indigenous worldviews that see the planet as a living, interconnected being. This systemic perspective is transforming our understanding of how our individual energies interact with larger systems, providing a scientific basis for the concept of manifestation as a collaborative process. The emerging field of information physics also offers new insights into manifestation. Scientists such as physicist Claude Shannon pioneered the establishment that information is a fundamental property of the universe, as basic as matter or energy. This understanding suggests that consciousness, information processing in its most refined form, may play a much more fundamental role in the structure of reality than previously recognized by materialistic science. This resonates with ancient Vedic teachings that describe consciousness as the fundamental substrate of reality, not simply a byproduct of brain processes. This convergence between modern science and ancient wisdom not only validates ancient manifestation practices, but also enriches them with nuance and precision. While ancient traditions provide the broadest context and intuitive understanding, modern science contributes specific mechanisms and objective measurements. By integrating these complementary perspectives, we can develop a more holistic and effective approach to manifestation, one that honors both the intuitive wisdom of our ancestors and the methodological rigor of contemporary science. The concept of co-creation has been significantly diluted in the modern spiritual marketplace. What began as a deep understanding of the partnership between human consciousness and universal intelligence has been reduced to a simple transaction. Ask the universe for what you want, and it will deliver like a cosmic delivery service. This oversimplification not only fails to capture the essence of co-creation, but also sets unrealistic expectations that lead to frustration and abandonment of potentially transformative practices. Ancient civilizations approached co-creation with much more respect and depth. They understood that the universe is not a servant fulfilling our requests, but a conscious partner in an ongoing creative process. Indigenous people performed elaborate ceremonies not only to ask for what they needed, but to establish reciprocity and alignment with the forces of nature. They recognized that any act of true creation required a careful balance between human agency and surrender to the greater wisdom of the natural cycles and unseen forces that govern our reality. The true meaning of co-creation involves the alignment of body, mind, and spirit in harmony with the greater flow of life. The body is not merely a vehicle to transport our mind, it is an instrument of manifestation in itself. Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Taoist practitioners cultivated physical health as a foundation for effective spiritual work. They understood that our bodily states directly influence our mental states and ability to manifest. A body loaded with toxins, chronic tension, or stagnant energy creates an internal environment that is resistant to manifestation, regardless of how positive our thoughts are. The mind also plays a crucial role in authentic co-creation, but not just through superficial thoughts or occasional visualizations. True co-creation involves cultivating mental discipline, the ability to maintain sustained focus on an intention despite distractions and doubts. Contemplative traditions have developed numerous practices to train the mind in this skill. Zen, Buddhism meditation, for example, was not originally about relaxation, but about developing unwavering concentration. This quality of focused attention creates a coherent field of energy that naturally attracts and organizes circumstances aligned with our intention. The spiritual component of co-creation is often the most neglected in contemporary Western culture. Ancient traditions understood that effective manifestation is not simply about acquiring ego-gratifying objects and experiences, but about aligning oneself with a higher purpose and greater good. The Greek oracles at Delphi proclaimed, "Know thyself as the path to true wisdom." This deep self-knowledge, understanding your true nature, life purpose, and connection to something greater than yourself, is the foundation for authentic co-creation. Without this anchoring in greater purpose, manifestation becomes a superficial pursuit that inevitably leads to emptiness. When the three elements, body, mind, and spirit, are aligned, we experience what some traditions call flow or synchronicity. In this state, co-creation seems to happen effortlessly, not because we are imposing our will on reality, but because we have become conduits for the natural movement of the universe through us. The poet Rumi captured this experience when he wrote, "When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving through you, a joy." This feeling of joy and fluidity is the marker of true co-creation, very different from the forced struggle that often accompanies attempts to manipulate reality through superficial manifestation techniques. The modern pursuit of material success and sensory pleasures is not inherently problematic. Imbalance occurs when these goals become disconnected from deeper purpose and meaning. Hermetic traditions taught the principle as above, so below, recognizing that material realities are reflections of spiritual realities. When we seek material manifestation without corresponding spiritual development, we create imbalance that eventually leads to dissatisfaction. True co-creation integrates material and spiritual dimensions of life, recognizing that authentic abundance includes not only external resources, but also internal richness of meaning, purpose, and connection. What many people don't understand about co-creation is that it requires active participation and responsibility, not passivity. While we are in partnership with larger forces, our role in the equation is not trivial. We are called to do our part. Take aligned action, resolve internal issues that create resistance, and cultivate the self-awareness necessary to listen to our own inner wisdom. As ancient Sufi wisdom teaches, trust in God, but tie your camel. This paradoxical orientation captures the essence of true co-creation, a delicate balance between conscious effort and confident surrender to the greater flow of life. When we repress our emotions, we are creating true energetic blockages in our body. These blockages are not just metaphorical. Studies in the field of psychoneuroimmunology have consistently demonstrated how unprocessed emotions can manifest themselves physically, causing everything from chronic pain to more serious illnesses. When you feel a strong emotion and choose to ignore it or push it down, that energy has to go somewhere, and it often lodges in specific parts of your body. The connection between emotions and specific organs is recognized by both traditional Chinese medicine and modern scientific research. Chronic fear, for example, can negatively affect the kidneys and bladder, while repressed anger often overloads the liver and gallbladder. Unprocessed sadness can compromise lung function, and prolonged stress is known to affect the heart and cardiovascular system. These are not random associations. They are observable patterns of how our physical bodies respond to our emotional experiences. For those who seek to manifest consciously in their own lives, these emotional blocks represent significant barriers. When your energy is stagnant due to unresolved emotions, you are essentially operating at reduced capacity. It's like trying to drive a car with the handbrake partially on. You can move forward, but with much more effort and less efficiency. Effective manifestation requires a free and dynamic flow of energy. The process of emotional release doesn't have to be complicated, but it does require presence and courage. Practices like expressive writing, where you simply put your emotions on paper without judgment, can be surprisingly effective. Other approaches include mindful bodywork such as yoga, and in some cases professional therapeutic support. The important thing is to recognize that fully feeling your emotions does not make you weaker. On the contrary, it is an act of true strength. Many people fear that by allowing themselves to feel difficult emotions like anger or deep sadness, they will become stuck in these states. The reality is exactly the opposite. It is resistance to emotions that keeps them trapped in our system. When you create space to fully feel an emotion, it naturally moves through you and dissipates. Emotions are, by nature, energy in movement. In the practice of conscious manifestation, emotional clarity becomes a powerful ally. When you are no longer unconsciously motivated by unrecognized fears or blocked by unprocessed resentments, your ability to focus intention becomes much more powerful. You can more clearly identify what you really want, rather than what you believe. You should want based on past conditioning. This authenticity is the fuel for manifestations aligned with your true purpose. The journey of emotional integration is continuous and is part of healthy human development. As you develop greater familiarity with your emotional landscape, you also cultivate greater resilience and the ability to stay present during challenges. This expanded presence not only benefits your physical health and well-being, but also dramatically amplifies your ability to consciously co-create with the universe. You become a clearer channel for the energies of manifestation to flow into your life, bringing you experiences that resonate with your most authentic and whole self. In today's digital world, we are bombarded with promises of quick and effortless spiritual transformation. 5-minute meditation apps online courses that promise to awaken your kundalini in a weekend, and self-help programs that guarantee immediate results proliferate on our screens. This trend reflects our larger culture of instant gratification, where we expect quick results in all areas of life. However, when it comes to genuine spiritual growth, this microwave mentality often leaves us with superficial and fleeting experiences. True spiritual transformation rarely happens in isolated moments of sudden enlightenment, although such moments can occur. Instead, it unfolds through a gradual and ongoing process of self-observation, honest reflection, and constant practice. It's like the growth of a tree. It doesn't happen overnight, and it can't be accelerated beyond a certain point without compromising the integrity of the process. Roots must go deep before branches can safely extend, and this underground development is rarely visible or spectacular. The modern spiritual marketplace often sells valuable ideas, but presents them as complete solutions. A meditation app can be helpful for establishing a daily practice, but it is no substitute for the deeper work of confronting your own limiting patterns and inner shadows. A weekend workshop can offer powerful insights, but the real transformation comes when you integrate these insights into your everyday life, week after week, facing the real challenges that arise in your relationships and work. The desire for spiritual shortcuts often reveals our resistance to the discomfort necessary for genuine growth. Growing spiritually means being willing to look at parts of yourself that may be painful to acknowledge: your biases, your selfish behaviors, your avoidance strategies. It means questioning fundamental beliefs about who you are and how the world works. This process is rarely comfortable, and our search for quick and painless solutions often represents an attempt to bypass this necessary discomfort. The cycle of frustration begins when we expect dramatic results from superficial practices. You meditate for a few weeks, and when you don't experience the deep peace or clarity you were hoping for, you abandon the practice, concluding that it doesn't work. It then moves on to the next spiritual trend, repeating the same pattern. Not only does this cycle waste your time and resources, it can also leave you increasingly cynical about the potential for genuine spiritual growth, reinforcing a sense of emptiness and disconnection. Commitment to self-knowledge is less about accumulating new techniques or experiences and more about cultivating an honest and compassionate relationship with yourself. This means regularly creating space to simply be with yourself, without constant distractions, without the aim of fixing something, just with the intention of getting to know more deeply who you are. This practice of consistent presence, although less glamorous than the promises of instant enlightenment, is the foundation upon which all authentic spiritual growth is built. The good news is that deep inner work, while challenging, offers rewards that instant solutions never could. There is a deep satisfaction in knowing yourself more fully, in developing an inner compass that guides you through life with greater clarity and purpose. There is a genuine freedom that comes not from escaping your difficulties, but from developing the capacity to face them with courage and compassion. This type of sustainable growth doesn't just temporarily fill a void, it fundamentally transforms your relationship with yourself and the world around you, creating a foundation for a life of meaning and authenticity.